Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining this wonderful conversation with Mr. Harold D'Souza. Um, Mr. D'Souza is a public speaker and a survivor advocate, so definitely Indrani will introduce him better. But he's a co-founder of Eyes Open International. I was going through his profile, very, very interesting profile, to be very honest. But which attracted my attention is, his some favorite quotes he has, but two quotes. I'm a poor starter, but a strong finisher, and don't worry, be happy, right? So I think the last one is very, very important. And when he talks about definitely all the stories of his life, you will understand that the last quote is very, very important for him. And with these words from National NHRD Network Kolkata chapter, Mr. D'Souza, a very, very welcome you, sir, on behalf of the chapter. And Indrani will be the moderator of the session. Indrani is a long-standing NHRDN, she is the CHRO and of Allcargo Logistics, chairman office member. And Indrani, I could see Indrani in one of the session yesterday itself, I believe yesterday or day before, woman during, in the pandemic session organized by Fortis Hospitals. So Indrani has got several awards. So Indrani is a renowned HR professional. So over to you, Indrani, in your safe hands, and definitely the participants will enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thakur.
Thank you, Dibindu. Humbled by your kind words. Yeah, I am a long timer with NHRD, and I feel very, very privileged with my association with NHRD. But I think this session is very, very special to all of us. And I would first like to put my thanks to NHRD committee for organizing this kind of session. I'm sure this is going to be a very, very eye-opening session, very different from what we have done so far, simply because we have somebody with us whose life itself is an inspiring journey. So without losing much time, I'm just getting straight into the topic. It says that life is what happens to you when you are busy making other plans. This is a quotation that I'm sure all of us had read. All of us could relate at some point or other. But for this gentleman who is our host today, I think, who is our guest today, apologies, who is our guest today, I think he can relate to this more than anyone else. He had this big US dreams in his eyes and had made big plans to land in US with a big fat job, and felt that once he is in US, life is sorted, family is sorted, and everything around him will be sorted. With that dreams, I think he had taken the flight to US, and boy, what was waiting for him? I'm sure he was also not aware what was waiting for him. So he came to US following the advice and encouragement of a man pretty close to him, and who had offered him and provided him with big opportunities. But what happened in the next 18 months is nothing short of a horror story. He was exploited at the hands of a human trafficker, if I may say, losing his freedom, dignity, and kept on struggling to keep his family safe and alive. His LinkedIn bio says that my experience as a survivor of human trafficking inspired me to spend my life helping to raise awareness for important issues and creation of awareness around education. I hope to create a world with more love, understanding, and compassion. Mr. Harold D'Souza, warm welcome to this session. Advocate by profession, as Dibindu said, he's also a public speaker, a survivor of labor trafficking, a debt bondage in the United States, originally from India. We are all very, very proud of you. He completed his graduation and post-graduation from India in Gujarat. He is the co-founder of Eyes Open International and a founding member of the National Survivor Network. He sits on the board of directors for Justice at Last and is very active in the local anti-trafficking organizations of United States. what makes him so special is, in spite of all this that he has faced, he was spotted by none other than Mr. President Barack Obama, and he was actually inducted in the advisory council of Obama's Human Trafficking Council, I'm said, and he continued with his consulting assignment even with Mr. Donald Trump. It's extremely encouraging to know that whatever you have faced, you have actually taken it on your stride and actually reached the highest point to actually advise people on this very serious issue that humans face every day. Currently, he is an expert consultant to the Department of the State's Office to monitor and combat trafficking in persons. So again, warm welcome. We have, I think today, it's more than 100 people listening to you. This is a recorded version, so it will be actually circulated. So we definitely wish that this session would impact, and this session will actually create a lot of positivity amongst our audience, because your life journey is definitely awe-inspiring. So very warm welcome once again, and I would definitely like to ask, how do you feel where you are today?
Thank you very much, inspiring, intelligent, innovative Indrani, for giving me a warm welcome. I feel on the top of the world because I am in Kolkata, and I am a very strong believer and follower of Mother Teresa. I always tell in the presentation that, do not waste time judging people, just love them. And this is the quote of Mother Teresa, and I'm proud that I'm in Kolkata and I'm sitting here with my friend like Saurabh Roy, who was my neighbor back in Baroda. So it is, I'm very happy to be here, to be honest. Thank you very much for inviting me, NHRD.
So Harold, and I hope you don't mind me calling Harold, because that's where I can make a great connection with you. So Harold, we have read about you. I have Googled you in last couple of days, and various stories have popped up after I have Googled your name, and I would say that I was pretty mesmerized. But I would like you to share your life journey, and I would just like to give a little bit of pointers so that we have a time frame. I know this, we can continue, we can go on and on, but I'm just interested to know that whose idea was to create Eyes Open International, and why did you want to make it happen? You are the founding member of this association, this organization, but how did you actually conceptualize to open an organization like this?
This is a good multi-million-dollar question, Indrani. I was appointed by President Barack Obama at the White House, and everyone was telling me, Harold, you need to start a non-profit, And honestly, I had no clue. I used to do presentations worldwide, but it was like audience of 500 or 1,000. And then one day I realized that I need to reach out to all people, delegates all over the world. And the idea of non-profit or Eyes Open International took birth, but this idea of Eyes Open, we had a brainstorming. It was my family members, some of my friends, American friends, my wife Dancy, my two sons Bradley and Rowan were there. So we had a brainstorming for almost more than 5 hours. And it was eventually, after like dozens of names, my younger son Rohan came with the with the idea of Eyes Open. And we said, oh, okay, that looks nice. Eyes open, like you need to open your eyes. And so then we added Eyes Open International. And that is how Eyes Open International took its birth in the year 2016. And it is registered in the US under 501c3, a non-profit organization. So where it is exempted for people who are trying to donate or contribute. Thank you.
So thank you, Harold. I would like to know from your end is, see, our life's package is a mixed package of pluses and minuses, ups and downs, sorrows and happiness, struggles and success. You have faced struggle a lot. most of us face struggle in our own way. Most of us face obstacles in our own way. Many a times, there's a tendency for us to crumble under the pressure. Nowadays, we talk about mental health. Suicide is on the rise whenever there is any kind of depression, or whenever we face any obstacle. You have faced a huge amount of obstacle in your life. Your dreams were shattered, yet you are here today, and what a turnaround. I would definitely like to know that what gave you that strength? How did you gather that strength to make this turnaround? And what would be your suggestions to everyone here who is listening to you, that what we should do when we actually face any barrier and how we should overcome that? It could be anything. Today you have faced an issue with human trafficking. Somebody else will face something else. COVID had given us so many challenges. Just wanted to know from your end, what do we do to overcome all the barriers that we face in life?
Yeah, Indrani, I want to share with all my audience who are watching today and globally that struggles and storms will come in your life lifelong, but you should know how to overcome obstacles into opportunities. So, 4 things to take away from my life story or for my presentation is that number 1, be happy. Number 2, think positive. Number 3, never quit. And number 4, believe in yourself. When I was in the United States of America and going through a rough patch, every delegate told me, Harold, it is impossible. I always tell friends that I am possible. So the classic example is right now the pandemic is going on for the last 2 years. People say there is unemployment, we have a lot of issues, people go through ill health, broken relationship, poverty, or maybe you might be a victim of any crime. But I always tell, never quit. Find a solution. Like suicide or silence is not a choice, it's not an option or a solution. So we have to fight for it and we have to overcome it. And I'm sharing my own example. I was at a point in the United States of America where I was homeless. I didn't have a quarter cents in my pocket. But I decided one day that I'm going to bounce back, come what may. My education was in India, Indrani. So if your foundation is strong, any cyclone or earthquake that will come in your life, you can withstand it. And that foundation is value, character, education, and faith. I do not believe in fate. बोलते हैं ना नसीब, वो तेरे नसीब में ये लिखा है. I said मेरे नसीब में तो नहीं लिखा. अगर लिखा है तो भी मैं उसको पलटी कर दूंगा. So I believe in faith. F-A-I-T-H. And here is a living example, right? I was as good as on the streets. No one knew me, a brown-skinned guy from India in the United States of America. And the pain I went through in the US, I decided one day, come what may, I will transform my pain into pleasure, my hurt into happiness, and my stigma into success. And today here I am with you in front of you, Indrani, and all the friends of NHRD, and I'm in Calcutta. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. If I may summarize, you had all the recipes for a failure, but you actually changed the recipe and made it something. You made it a success.
I like that. Recipe of failure. I love that. I'm going to use that. See, I'm a student of life. I learn every day. Yeah, my recipe was fixed. It was confirmed.
Your recipe. You had a sure shot recipe of failure. As much as I have read about you, but you did something during the cooking and it changed into success. So
I just want to add here that failure is the path to success.
Absolutely. So you need to fail to succeed. So Harold, I am very much interested to know that you must have also seen some people, some victims who had actually inspired you, or from whom you have learned. Today you have become an icon to so many people, millions of people across the globe. But I'm sure you have met in your journey victims who have also inspired you and have helped you or have shown you the path or inspired and motivated you to hold on for a little longer. Would you like to share any insights to that?
Yeah, Indrani, like when I was going through the tough phase, and even when my case was with the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and when I won the case, I never wanted my story to go outside the four walls because it was like a stigma, it was like a shame. But I have worked with hundreds of victims in the United States of America, from Mexico, Guatemala, Philippines, India, Pakistan, and I learned so much that I came by flight from Bombay to the US on an H-1B work permit visa on a $75,000 salary legally to the US. But when I reached there, I met so many Mexicans. I said, you're so lucky you came by flight. I said, what do you mean? I said, how did you come? They say we came through the jungle walking.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it is very horrific. So there are thousands of people, even from India, who have come through the Mexico border, and out of say 10, only 2 have made it. And when they didn't get food to eat, Indrani, they ate leaves. They ate grass when they ran out of their own food, because it takes months or days, weeks to reach the US border. And when they didn't get water to drink, they drank their own urine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a reality. God. This is a reality. And that is the reason I'm trying to do this event with you, trying to educate and empower and enlighten our friends that do not pay the agent. If you're paying, that's fine, but for some paperwork. But do not pay the agent to come to the United States of America illegally. If you enter America illegally, it is hell. If you enter America legally, it is heaven. Thank you.
No, I think this is definitely a very important piece of advice to all our audience, and I'm sure there are some students here who are US aspirants. I think this is very important. Do not enter any country whatsoever illegally. Follow the normal path, follow the legal path, and I'm sure you will achieve what you want to. No, thank you for that piece of advice. So, Harold, tell me, what has been the hardest part of living in US, apart from your experience, what you have experienced during your employment or unemployment, if I may quote, what has been the hardest part of being in US, apart from washing the dishes and mopping the floor, because that we all know that we have to do if we are in US. We don't have the luxury of having a house help. But apart from that, what is so different from our country, and what is that one unique thing which made you a little uncomfortable in that foreign country?
I think anyone who goes from India or any Asian countries, or I don't know about Mexico, anyone who goes to the United States of America, it's totally a different culture. 100% different. Even person like me who was educated from India, it took me more than 10 years to get adjusted with the Indian culture. Even today, I'm still changing, I'm still working, and I'm still trying to be an American, So I'll give small examples. Like once you are in the United States of America, even if you have to cut your hair, I didn't know where to find a salon. It's you don't know how the culture is. You cannot just walk on the streets. It's totally different. So somebody has to navigate you and teach you how to talk, how to behave, how to dress. These are small things which we never knew. I want to give one small classic example, Indrani. We never saw snow in our life. So we saw snow for the first time in 2003 in November or December. So my kids go to school, my 2 sons, Bradley and Rohan. We get a note from the school teacher that both my sons cannot come to school if they do not wear snow jackets. Now my kids had sweaters from India, that is see-through sweater, right? But I didn't know what is a snow jacket. So these are small red flags. But anyway, my chef, he bought it. Binda Paji always tell him, But next day, we get a note from the school teacher that both my sons cannot come to school if they do not wear snow gloves. Now, my two sons were wearing snow gloves, but again, they were from India, the woolen ones. But they needed the snow gloves, they have a particular type. So these are certain red flags. So there are many incidents that I never knew. They are my trafficker manipulated, tricked, and trapped me. He said, never ever talk to any American or white guy. They do not like brown guys. And they always use 4 words, Indrani. If you're a foreign national in the USA, they'll tell you, the immigrants or the traffickers, they'll tell the immigrants, number 1, I'll get you arrested. Number 2, I'll get you handcuffed. And when they say handcuffed, they do it by action. Like, they'll talk like that. Number 3, I'll get you jailed. And number 4, I'll get you deported. So these 4 words, no human beings on this planet would like to hear. That's one. And number 2, like, my name is Harold D'Souza, but if I am working in the US, my trafficker would not call me Harold. He'll say, illegal, come here. So all foreign nationals are named as illegal. But understand one thing, Indrani and friends, when they call you illegal, in your mind, body, and soul, you think you're a criminal. And that is what I'm trying to change. And how my things changed after 7 or 8 years when I was going for counseling. My counselor, one young lady like you, told me after 6 months of counseling, Harold, why do you call yourself illegal? 1 word, 1 second, my life changed. She told me, Harold, you are undocumented. And that flipped my thinking and my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. I was thinking that I'm growing old, but you just mentioned that I'm a young lady. That flipped my thinking also. Okay. So.
Come on, you're young.
Okay, I don't want to disclose my age here, but I can just say I use good anti-aging cream. Jokes apart. Dear audience, I'm sure you are enjoying the discussion. I would definitely like to mention here that though Harold seems to be very down-to-earth person, he has been at the Harvard University. He had given lectures at the Harvard University and has also spoken and addressed the United Nations on the importance of recognizing and protecting vulnerable populations susceptible to trafficking. It has been a great feat for you. Congratulations, Harold. And I'm also told that you love reading a lot. You enjoy books. You love reading. I'm also told that you have left no stone unturned in creating. And every time I am reading about you, two things are coming again and again. 2 keywords, as we say. One is prevention for human trafficking, and second is awareness through education. So I think these are the 2 things that are coming up again and again: education and prevention of human trafficking. Any go-to books, any books that has actually helped you, any motivational writer who has helped you to remain glued to your life's mission?
I think the most important was my life lessons and what I went through in my personal life. That's one. But I think I learned a lot from my 2 sons, Bradley and Rohan. And I just want to give one small example of how things change in my life. That my trafficker hired a guy to kill me. Right? You've seen the movie. So, and I knew that I'm going to die. So one day I was discussing with my wife in the afternoon that I'm not going to live, I'm going to die. My younger son, Rohan, was playing on the floor, facing the wall. So I always tell Indrani and friends, do not be scared what the child speaks, but be scared what the child sees and hears. So after a few seconds, my son taps me, I look behind, and he tells me, Dadu, if you die, what happens to me? Who will take care of my schooling? And that is when I realized that I got to live. If I don't live, he dies. If I don't live, my wife dies. If I don't live, my older son Bradley dies. So that was a lot of aspects in my life that changed me. That's one. Number 2, I've seen 2 immigrant friends of mine who died there in the USA, who were victims of labor trafficking. And their deaths, Indrani, has gone unnoticed. It was just like a commodity. You just have a Starbucks coffee, but this is a mug in the thing. What happens? You have a coffee and they throw it. So they use victims of labor trafficking and just toss them. So at one point in my life, I lost my voice, courage, hope, and freedom. And at the same breath, one day it was God's call telling me, Harold, you got to be the voice for the voiceless. And today here I am, Indrani, to be the voice, courage, hope, and freedom for all the victims, survivors, vulnerable populations, and community members globally. Thank you.
No, thank you, Harold. You actually re-emphasize what we always read, that there needs to be a purpose in life. And if you have a purpose in life, you can actually overcome any obstacles. And here I believe that one statement from your son, that Dadu, if you are not alive, what will happen to me, actually gave the purpose of your life to fight beyond everything. Right. I guess so. So I think that purpose actually helped you to do whatever you have done so far and whatever you will do from here onwards. I'm also told that you have traveled extensively, Harold. You have traveled to various parts, of course, in US, and you have also traveled Africa, Europe, and Middle East. And I'm sure this problem of human trafficking is equally rampant in these countries, in Africa, in Middle East, Europe. Have you met anybody from there who had got similar kind of life story, life's journey as yours, or have got similar kind of experience and is now currently working with you?
Yeah, so I have operations in 8 countries. Eyes Open International, my goal is to start in 50 countries, that's 50. So Eyes Open International is focused on prevention, education, protection, and empowerment of victims, survivors, and community members globally. I just want to share one thing, Indrani, is that America is considered as one of the most powerful countries in the world. So America is the destination, but countries like India, Pakistan, Guatemala are the source, and there are many transit countries also. So my goal, like coming to India and being here in Kolkata, is to create awareness and telling people, please do not come to the United States of America undocumented or illegally. Come to the US, but come legally. If you're coming on a B1, B2 visa, that's a visit visa. Come, enjoy, travel, and then go back. Don't overstay. Do not get into a contract marriage. So many people will say, stay back, I'll get you a green card. Don't do that. If you're coming on a C1D visa, that's a shipping visa. Do not jump the ship and come on shore and work, because that visa can never ever be corrected even if you get married to an American. There are many Indians who are stuck there. And that is what I'm trying to do today, is that to create a full stop at the source, like a country like India, and encouraging students, please come to Canada, Australia, different countries, even to the US, but come through the proper channel. Have the hotline number, like the National Human Trafficking hotline number in the United States of America is 1-888-373-7888. So save those numbers on your cell phone. And if you have any friends and family members who are stuck in the US in the case of labor trafficking or human trafficking, please dial this number or email at info@eyesopeninternational.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So as you know, Harold, today you are addressing a group of HR professionals. This is an NHRD platform, and you are addressing a group of HR professionals, and I'm sure there are many students also today in the audience. But with HR, we HR professionals are completely programmed to think of only one thing mainly, and that's job. Whether to provide jobs to the students or to people. So the main thing about HR is about jobs. So I cannot resist myself from asking my next question. How did you land up with the job in White House?
I think that's a multi-million-dollar question. I myself do not know how I landed at the White House, because this question was asked to me in a press conference in the US, and one of the press delegates asked me, Harold, how did you land at the White House? Because I never applied. And I didn't know President Barack Obama was going to start, in the first time in the history of America, an advisory council on human trafficking. And I was one among the 11 appointed, and I was the only Indian American. So I think it was a blessing from God. It was your good wishes, Indrani, and all the audience who are watching here today. So it is a pure
But
reflection.
still, Harold, what was the source? How did your CV go through? How did your story reach Mr. Obama? How did it happen?
It's like this, like how did I get on NHRD today? I never applied. I never told you that I want to be on the show today. So I used to do a lot of presentations in the US. So I think I was in Washington, DC a couple of times from Freedom Network. I've addressed like 500 or 1,000 people. Like that time I was invited as a keynote speaker. And I'm anticipating or contemplating that somebody recommended my name, some delegates from Department of State or Department of Homeland Security, or there was some delegate from the White House in the audience, and somebody recommended my name, to be honest. But who recommended my name and who did it, I do not know. But I thank God, I thank that individual, I thank that organization for recommending my name. But I just do not know who did it. And there on 2015, I was appointed by President Barack Obama, and on January 5th, 2016, I was inside the White House.
Wonderful, wonderful. So again, in our language, in our parlance, if I have to just summarize, it's like be visible, do a lot of networking, and you will be headhunted one day. You might not know who is your referee, but you will be headhunted. So to get a job, you need to be actually visible and you need to network a lot. So that's also the motto of NHRD. In NHRD, we network a lot. We provide a lot of jobs to people who are in need of job, who wants better placements. So, and it is all done through networking. And I think your example is also a testimony to the fact that networking helps, being visible helps. You never know who will pick you up for the next job. So I think I can relate to that. Yeah, so I move to the next question that actually is crossing my mind for quite some time. Basically, when you actually decided to overcome your barriers, what were the 2 or 3 things that you actually had to overcome? One is to gather courage, definitely, and you had to decide that I'm not going to live this life anymore. I think that is the starting point. But if you can just tell me the 2 or 3 real quantifiable barriers that you had to overcome to come out of that bondage, what were those things?
I think number one is that when my trafficker hired a guy to shoot me or kill me, that's one. Number two, I fell down so low in my life that people in the US, especially of my nationality, started spitting at me, were like criticizing me and I became like a laughing stone there, like a joke. And last but not the least, I could see that my wife and my 2 sons suffer. And I decided one day, come what may, I will die. If I have to die, I will die fighting in the United States of America, but I will not turn around and run. If they have to kill me, they'll shoot me on my chest, but not on my back. So I always tell the Indrani that I'm a common man. Number 2, I'm a failure. And number 3, I'm a sinner. Now I failed on 4 P's. I failed as a parent. I failed as a provider. I failed as a protector. And I failed as a person. But I want to tell all my friends today who are watching is that I flipped those 4 P's into passion, purpose, prayers, and power. So everything is possible. What your mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. And I decided one day, I'm going to fight. I'm going to win. I'll fight for justice. If I have to fight alone, I'll fight alone. I fought the battle alone. And I knew that I'm honest. So I said, let me see. And God was with me. The public started coming with me. There was no one. I was only one walking. I fell down 1,000,000 times, but again I got up. I started walking. And I decided that I will win. And eventually things turned. There was no law on human trafficking in Ohio where I was. There were 6 states in 2003 where there was no law on human trafficking. See how one can change the world. Everyone has the power, including you, Indrani, every audience who is watching right now, everybody on the streets of Kolkata, has the power, but you should have the passion. You should have the purpose. When I realized there was no law on human trafficking or labor trafficking in Ohio, I fought. I was the only person. My case was the first case of an H-1B visa. In 2012, the governor passed a law. Anyone who is caught and it's a felony of human trafficking gets an imprisonment for 10 years. So everything is possible. I just want to give a classic example. Like our Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, Swachh Bharat. Okay, but we have to be the government. Then he's not going to come and clean the streets. We have to do it. So same in the US. Whether it is President Barack Obama or Biden or during Donald Trump's time, I decided I'm going to change. And that's how I got at the White House. We submitted reports. This is when the report we submitted during Trump's time. So we have made a lot of difference in the United States of America and globally. And there are so many reports. We have submitted 4 reports. These are the reports that were submitted during Barack Obama's time. This was the first report we submitted during President Barack Obama's time in 2016. I was the co-chair for 2 years during President Barack Obama's time. And I was a common man. When I say common man, Indrani, I grew up in Gujarat. For me, even 5 paisa was a big thing to have a gola. Right? So I have seen the hardship. My father, as a bachelor in 1957, slept on the railway platform of Dabhoi in Gujarat because he was a TC, train conductor. Right? So I always tell very proudly that it was due to my father who was sleeping on the railway platform. His son is at the White House. And there is a biopic film coming up on me from India to the White House. I just signed the life right agreement. And there is a Hollywood film which has been made by Martin Sheen. He's the executive producer in the USA. The teaser trailer is out. And the name of the teaser trailer is To Be Free. And that's what I'm just trying to encourage people, like, never quit. Change the world and everything is possible. Age is just a number. Even if you are 15 years old or 55 years old or 75 years old, you can still make a difference. And that's what my classic example are my 2 boys, Bradley and Rowan. Thank you.
So Harold, let me be a little filmy here because you have just mentioned Bollywood and we are all very, very passionate about Bollywood. You kept on telling that you are a common man and you will be in, your story will be captured in Bollywood and we all will be watching it with a lot of pride, I'm sure. But there's a very famous movie of Shah Rukh Khan where he keeps on telling, never underestimate the power of a common man. So I think he should meet you, and because you are telling that I am a common man and you are very, very powerful common man. So I never liked the movie though, but this statement actually crossed my mind when I heard you telling that I'm a common man. So yeah, never underestimate the power of a common man, and I think it's all in the mind. I love the way you admit that I have been a failure as a parent. I have been a failure as 2 or 3 points that you had mentioned. I think the first point of change is accepting where we are today. And if we accept whether we are failure or whether we want to improve, I think there starts the change. I think that's where you did it extremely well. And that's where you can actually turn your life's page from a failure to being so successful and so inspirational. So I'm also told that you have your own blogs, you write regularly, you have a book, you keep on writing on your website. Do you also keep a personal journal to document your life? Is my first question. And my second question is, who is your favorite author? And if you have any favorite book or any book of recommendation for all of us to read, if you can share that with us.
I was never a writer. I was never a reader. I was never a speaker. I was a failure because from 3rd grade Indrani to the 10th grade, I failed in all these subjects. And my report card was like 0, 3, 7, 8, single digit. I always tell my kids, it was like a rainbow card. And when I say that I am a sinner, I just want to tell my audience is that I really mean it. That my son was slapped, a full-fledged slap in front of my own eyes. My trafficker wanted to teach me a lesson. and he slapped my kid. You do not slap anyone's child, whether it is your child or any child on the street, even if he or she has made no mistakes. And even if he or she has made, that child has made a mistake, you will discipline that child but not give a full-fledged slap. And my son might have cried for 180 seconds, that's 3 minutes. But till I go to the graveyard, it will still be burning in my heart. So that's the reason I say I'm a sinner. So I've written a book called The Frog in a Well.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
And the frog in a well is of my own story, because in my village, that well is still there because there was no running water and electricity at our house. So we used to draw water from the well. And in every well, there is a frog. And the frog thinks that's the world, because there is food, there is water, there is everything. Same in the case of human trafficking, whether it is labor trafficking or sex trafficking. The victim is under the control of the trafficker or the perpetrator, and thinking that this is the best world because they've got clothing, shelter, everything. But they do not know that there's a better world outside. There is freedom, there is choice, there is happiness. And there's another book coming up, written by one of my family friend's daughter. Her name is Purobi Roy. And I think she's titled the name The Harold D'Souza We Know. She has interviewed about 113 delegates all over the world. And I just want to share one thing that to all the audience today, and most of the delegates might have watched this particular documentary or the book that is called The Secrets. It is there on the Netflix. So it is called The Law of Attraction. And I strongly believe in that aim high, achieve higher, and aspire happiness. Thank you.
So Harold, when you talk about happiness, how do you keep yourself happy? How do you instill the element of fun in your life? Because you deal with a lot of serious stuff. You deal with people who are not having the best of experiences in life, or with people with whom life has not been very kind. So at times it could be really energy sucking experience. How do you actually keep yourself motivated, energized, and what do you do for fun?
That's why I told you in the beginning, you're inspiring, you're incredible, you're intelligent, you're innovative, Indrani. Because very few delegates across the world has touched on this subject. How do you keep yourself happy? It's very easily said, but very difficult to practice, preach, and live your life. So self-care is very important, especially in the case of victims of any crime, whether you're a victim of labor trafficking, sex trafficking, or any broken relationship. But I have decided that I cannot change the past, but I can change the present and future. Many times I feel young students or people coming and telling me, Harold, pandemic is going on, or I cannot predict the future. But I always tell, you can create your own future. So even today, I go for counseling, number one. When I'm in the US, I go to the Sisters of Notre Dame. So, and it makes me feel good because I want to remain healthy and happy. Number two, I do meditation every day. Number three, at home, I'm like a child. I do all sorts of masti. You know, with my two sons, we are like friends. So we never talk about the past. So we see that I always think that how I can change the present and future. So it takes time to train your mind. It does not happen overnight. And that is why, see, when I'm doing a presentation today here, Indrani, on NHRD with all the friends, it is very therapeutic for me. Initially, when first my TV interview or news was to come on Fox 19, and I didn't speak. They said they'll blur my face, but they just showed me. My wife spoke. I didn't sleep the full night. But it was later on. I thought I lost my job in the US. I thought if I go to church, the parish priest will kick me out of the parish. But it was very therapeutic. People came and hugged me. People came and like shook hands with me in the US. And then I said, oh wow, but Harold, we didn't know that you went through all this trauma. And I always tell Indran that trauma has no expiration date. It might have happened 30 years back, like you said. So you have to keep yourself mentally fit. Everyone goes through trauma, including you. When I say that, you might have gone through certain phases in your life. It's a part of life for everyone. But then we have to be mentally strong. We have to be futuristic. And always tell, whether it is Narendra Modi, it is Harold D'Souza, it is Barack Obama, it's Joe Biden, Donald Trump, you name anyone, or even Sachin Tendulkar, no one gets visa for more than 36,000 days on this planet. That is 100 years. And what are we fighting for? Like 100 years, I'm not going to live. So always believe what I can give back to the community. So that is my way of thinking. Simple living, high thinking. Dress for success. I never should dress well during my trafficking or when I got off the trafficking situation. But it was my son Bradley. He used to tell me, Dad, come on, you got to dress for success. So I learned so much from my kids. It's not that, just age is just a number. Like in the house, we say that the father is the head of the family. So in my house, I flipped it. My two sons are the head of the family. And I practice. So that's the way it is. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think again here I would definitely like to take 2 points. Like we also in our corporate world we say that if you want success, dress 2 levels up. That's the first impression that you make. And see, Bradley had given you that suggestion. So much to learn from the kids. If we just have a patient hearing, they actually teach us through their own very simple way. So you touched upon futuristic thinking. You touched upon simple living, high thinking. From here, what next?
Nothing. I'm taking every day at a time, one day at a time. I have started this non-profit called Eyes Open International. It is registered in India also. We have Hriday Rawal, who is the regional director for India. I have Rachna Sabharwal, who is a trustee. And again, I have Hriday Rawal, who is the managing trustee. So it is registered as Eyes Open Trust in India. So it is tax exempted, so people can donate if they want to donate willingly, because we are helping 90% of our funding, Indrani, goes towards the victim. I just want to give a classic example. There are 38 girls. On 16th, I am at Halol. Once I fly from Calcutta, I'm going to Gujarat. So there are 38 girls at Halol, taken care by Cloudy Nivas, by Convent of Jesus and Mary Sisters. These 38 girls are picked up from the streets, bus stands, and railway stations. They are from the age group of 6 to 18 years old who have been physically and sexually abused. Their cost of living is 15,000 rupees per year, lodging, boarding, medical, schooling, everything. So Eyes Open International has sponsored a couple of girls, and on 16th, I'm going to announce that Eyes Open International will take one girl only, to the United States of America for further studies, for college after a 12th grade. I have come mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially prepared. I've done my homework and come today to India. And I've spoken to the universities in the US. And I want to take this one girl to the US for college and ensure that she is successful, stable in the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. So while I place my next question to you, I would also like to ask the audience that we have 10 more minutes to interact with Harold. If you have any question, you can post in the chat box, and I will definitely place the question to Harold for his responses and reactions. So Harold, we know that this pandemic has been very, very unkind to all of us. Do you think that it has actually exposed the trafficking and exploitation more, given that there has been a crash in the job market? There are a lot of job losses. There are a lot of deaths. People have become very, very insecure. So do you think this will trigger more trafficking? It will trigger more corruption? And if yes, what would be your way to address that?
It's very sad, Indrani, but it's a fact that during the pandemic, the trafficking, whether it is labor trafficking or sex trafficking, it has triggered. Whether you take the example of India, let's focus on India right now, because there is so much unemployment. Every delegate did not get a stimulus package, and there are various reasons that people are on daily wages, they didn't get any income. I want to give a classic example. One girl from Bangalore, She contacted me last year, and she was getting a job in California, LA. And then when she, because many people call me, and when she called me, then I asked her, good, and it was in the hospitality industry. Then I asked her, what is the salary? And she said, it is $8,000 per month. I told her straight, point blank. I said, it is a case of sex trafficking. So that's the reason I tell all my audience, like, if you get a job offer, maybe they contact you, Indrani, your organization, or they contact Eyes Open International, maybe they contact Hriday Rawal or Saurabh Roy, who is in Calcutta, and just cross-verify. Don't just jump. I made a mistake. I went on an H-1B visa, but precaution is better than cure. I just want to tell one thing, Indrani, and to my friends, making a mistake is not a mistake. Making no mistake is a mistake. Repeating a mistake is a big mistake. But learning from your mistakes and helping people to live a happy life is not at all a mistake. And that is what I'm doing here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. No, it's a very good piece of advice. And I think in last 50 minutes, you definitely have shared a lot of insights from your life's journey and a lot of practical advices, I think, which is going to be very, very useful for all of us in our own way, in our own life's journey. But may I ask you, what was that one advice, that one moment, or that one particular thing which actually, I know that you discussed about your son telling that that if you are not alive, what will happen to us? But any advice from anybody senior or your go-to person or your mentor who has actually helped you a lot?
It is my father.
Okay.
But I lost my father in the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
But I always feel that spiritually, he lives with me. So I always carry the photograph of my dad. And when I go to the White House, I always have it with me. So he was my inspiration. So the movie which is coming up, a biopic film, is also dedicated to my father. So I told him my father was to sleep on the railway platform at Dubai. And every time I close my eyes here today for 30 seconds, I get re-energized. I get the power. I get the wisdom to fight back. I said, come on, like my father having nothing, who had come in shorts and no sleepers to Bombay when he was a bachelor, and he made it. I said, I'm going to make it bigger and brighter in life. So there are many factors in my life. That's one. And number two, my father used to take me to church when I'm born and raised as a Roman Catholic. So I used to go to the church in Baroda, Rosary Church. So every Sunday, when we used to go to the church, there were leprosies. Indrani, 6 leprosies on the left hand side, 6 leprosies on the right hand side, sitting on the ground or maybe on that wooden plank. So during the offertory, my father used to give me some coins which I used to put in the church, in the sacristan's bag. And afterwards, my father, during the offertory time, used to bring me out as a child and give me some coins. And this leprosies used to get so excited. So I used to put their hands were amputated, their legs were amputated. There was some white bandage on their hands. And I used to put coins, 5 paisa, 10 paisa, I don't know, in everybody's katori. And every leprosy, Indrani, touched me, literally touched me with their hands or tap me on their cheeks. But my father never ever told me that, that, oh, you should not touch them or they should not touch you. And I don't know why I say this. And when I was in the worst of the worst situation in the US, it just came to me in my mind that it is their blessings that got me out of that situation. So there are many factors that has become a miracle in my life. I never thought I'd survive. Honestly, there was no possibility of my survival. It was zero. That's why I tell survivors are poor starters, but strong finishers in life. And that's why I tell never quit. And if whatever is written here, nobody can stop it. But at that same breath, I'm not scared now. People tell me, Harold, you're doing these presentations, you're talking, you'll be a threat. I said, come on, I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to help people. I'm not trying to enter in anyone's zone, but I'm trying to help people who are victims, and they should not be a victim like me. What my kids suffered, what my wife suffered, what I suffered, I do not want any individual to go through that path. And if I can guide them, if I can navigate them, if I can empower them, if I can enlighten them, why not? There are so many people, friends who have come to the US. I tell them, come. I've sent letters, invitation letters to so many people. And they got visa. It's not that they have not got. They got visa. They come, seen and gone back. So it is not just because I've gone to the US I tell people, no, all my friends have come there. And I want everyone to see it. And that's why I'm meeting the US Embassy on Monday here in Kolkata. I met them in Delhi. I'm meeting them in Bombay, in Hyderabad. So it is all about collaboration, Indrani. Eyes Open International is not my organization. It is your organization. It is our organization. Today, Harold D'Souza is there. Tomorrow, Harold D'Souza is not there. But Eyes Open International will be there forever. Thank you.
So, Harold, your life's journey is definitely making me think that when we read that everything happens for a reason, you are definitely a testimony to that, because I'm really sorry the pain and the experience that you had gone through while you were trafficked, and when your trafficker had actually did whatever he did to you. I'm very, very sorry to know that. But had it not been for that experience, you would not be here today. You would not have reached Harvard, or you would not have been with UN, or you would not have Eyes Open International, or maybe a biopic. Have you ever imagined when you were a kid that a biopic will be made out of your life story? I'm sure no.
No, absolutely no. So people tell me that Harold is at the press. Isn't it your dream come true to go to the White House or to the Oval Office? I said it was not in my dreams also. It was not in the box. So it is a blessing. Another thing, Indrani, when I graduated BCom, I didn't have a passport. So you can imagine, to go to the US, you need a passport. For me to even to go to Bombay from Baroda was like going to go to a foreign country. I could not afford a thumbs up. Growing over there, I could not afford eclairs chocolate. You know, it was 25 paisa. And I didn't have 25 paisa, so I used to buy 10 paisa hard candy. So you'll get 4 candies. Hard candies. So I still respect money today. I still value money today. But it is a blessing. So I think you have to change, you know. So I always tell, you know, so always aim high, and everything is possible. And that's why I tell people, like, you know, come on, you can make it happen. Don't quit. Don't surrender. But work hard. Always tell, a short-term pain is a long-term gain. But a short-term gain is a long-term pain. So when you're young, you're in school, college, work hard. Have passion in life. Well, otherwise, you'll be struggling in your entire life. I worked very hard in the US. It's not that, like, I used to work 16 hours later on at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, because I wanted to flip. I wanted to empower my kids. And I tell by example, both my sons, Bradley, at the age of 12 or 10, he was appointed as a national scholar, global scholar. He was appointed to President Barack Obama's inaugural function. At the age of 19, Bradley Ivan D'Souza was appointed as a board of directors, the youngest board of directors in the United States of America. He was the youngest employee of Tesla, Elon Musk. He broke the world record of driving a Tesla from LA to New York in 51 hours, 47 minutes. And Elon Musk retweeted on June 10th, Indrani and my friends, on June 10th, 2015, Bradley Ivan D'Souza bought his own Tesla car, Model S.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Harold. While I wait, and I can see the passion flowing through your conversation, and we are all very, very charged up and excited. I think one thing that we are taking from this 1 hour session of yours is definitely everything happens for a reason. And if we are facing any struggle, if we are facing any stumbling block in our life, in our career, we should not quit, because you started your session stating that 4 mantras of your life: be happy, never quit, believe in yourself, and be positive. I think I'd like to end the session with this positive note, that while we wait for your biopic to come on the screen, this last 60 minutes was nothing short of a biopic, and nothing short of a thriller, and nothing short of an adventure movie that we have seen. All the best, Harold, for your future. I'm sure you are going to make us proud even more from here. And just know that from NHRD, we all will be your proud admirer. Thank you very much. I flip my mic to Dibyendu and NHRD to close the session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. It was a privilege to hear you both today. And now I call upon Mr. Subrat Kumar Saha, Executive Committee Member, NHRD Kolkata Chapter, to please give the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Hi, good evening all. It's what a wonderful evening today, you know, when we are listening Mr. Harold D'Souza in conversation with our moderator, Ms. Indrani Chatterjee. Thank you, Mr. Harold D'Souza, for giving your insightful experiences from life, both from personal and professional life. We have learned a lot of things from you today. Thank you for making the session really enriching and engaging for all of us. The 4 mantras which ma'am has also told, we have also made a note of it. Thank you. I would like to, it's really my privilege to thank Mr. Harold D'Souza, founder and president, Eyes Open International, former member, US Advisory Council on Human Trafficking. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and effort. We really learned a lot from you. I would like to thank our moderator, Ms. Indrani Chatterjee, Group Chief People Officer, Allcargo Logistics, for her time and effort and doing a wonderful moderation today. We can see the conversation is really going well, and a lot of positive feedbacks we already have started receiving it in our different WhatsApp groups. Our sincere thanks to all EC members, Advisory Council members. Special thanks to Dibyendu Chakrabarti Thakur, Secretary. Special thanks to Shweta, our chapter manager. Without their support, it would have not been possible. It was not really easy, in this pandemic to take everyone along and do a virtual session like this. Our sincere thanks to press people who are here. Our sincere also thanks to Mr. Saurabh Roy for his time, effort, and contribution for this session. Our thanks to Fulki team who are the designer team for us. Our thanks to all the participants who have participated here. And thank you all once again for making this evening a wonderful and lovely evening and an experienceful evening for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Subroto.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Subroto. Thank you so much. Have a very good evening, everyone.